The top free agent that many Denver Broncos fans wanted is officially off the market. He won't even reach free agency. But, as the saying goes, when one door closes, another one opens. In this case, I think 3 new doors just opened across the NFL, doors that could bring superstar receivers to the Denver Broncos. Before we dive into the latest updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss a breaking news update. Now, with about a month left before the new league year starts, fans are already counting down the days. A popular Twitter account recently posted that it was just 22 days until T. Higgins would join the Broncos. Some fans even speculated based on social media activity, reading into who players followed on Instagram or Twitter. One interesting moment was when Bo Nix had a conversation with T. Higgins. This got many fans excited, thinking Higgins could be the perfect receiver to pair with Nix. People wanted a dynamic playmaker, someone who could create separation and make big plays after the catch. Unlike Courtland Sutton, who is more of a possession receiver, Higgins could bring explosiveness to the team. But, as some predicted, though I personally didn't see it coming, the Cincinnati Bengals placed the franchise tag on T. Higgins. So, we had high hopes that T. Higgins would join the Broncos and take Bo Nix to another level in his second year. It would have been incredible to see. But here's the good news. Many people were sure that Higgins would end up with the Chargers or the Chiefs. In fact, some of my NFL analyst friends like NFL Mike, who covers the Chargers, and Michael Darcy, who covers the Chiefs, were so confident that they would have bet their houses on it. But now, we know that Higgins is staying in Cincinnati. This actually puts the Bengals in a tough spot. Their ownership group is known for not having a lot of cash on hand, and their training facility isn't great either. Their defense was already weak, and now it could get even worse. Why? Because most of their money is going to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. It's hard to build a strong defense when so much of the salary cap is tied up in just 3 players. And, as we all know, defense wins championships. The Broncos will face Cincinnati this season, but this time we'll have home field advantage. Their offense will still be dangerous, but their struggling defense might take an even bigger hit. Plus, when a team uses the franchise tag, they have to pay that player a top 5 salary at their position. That means Higgins is getting a huge paycheck, which puts even more pressure on the Bengals' salary cap. For the Broncos, this is a win-win situation. Not only does it make Cincinnati weaker, but it also keeps Higgins away from the Chiefs and Chargers, 2 division rivals we have to face twice this season. And, speaking of the franchise tag, there's even more good news to discuss. There's even more good news, and this time, it's about another wide receiver who could be a better fit for the Broncos than T. Higgins. That player is Chris Godwin from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Unlike Higgins, Godwin won't be franchise tagged, which means he'll be available in free agency for a much lower price. And the best part? His skill set matches exactly what head coach Sean Payton wants in a receiver. Fans are already reacting to this news. A national sports account even posted a meme of Sean Payton calling his shot for Godwin, suggesting he could be a Bronco soon. So why is Chris Godwin such a perfect fit? Analysts say run-heavy, screen-heavy offenses should take a serious look at him. And guess what? That describes Sean Payton's system perfectly. Blocking is a huge part of Payton's game plan. That's one reason why Lil Jordan Humphrey stayed on the team over players like Tim Patrick, Samaje Perine, and Josh Reynolds, because Payton loves receivers who can block well. Godwin checks all the boxes. Great blocker strong in the screen game, reliable hands, explosive after the catch. If you need proof, just watch his dominant performance against the Detroit Lions last season. He was unstoppable. So, could Chris Godwin be the next big weapon for the Broncos? It's starting to look like a real possibility. When we played Tampa Bay, we dominated them. But, if you watch Chris Godwin in the screen game, you can see why he stands out. We know Sean Payton loves using screens in his offense. While Marvin Mims is great in those situations, he doesn't fight through tackles the way Godwin does. Godwin has the strength to push through tight spaces, which makes him a perfect fit for Bo Nix. Mims has breakaway speed, but Godwin brings power and toughness, making him a better all-around weapon for this system. So, what do you think? Are you disappointed we missed out on T. Higgins? Or are you excited about the chance to go after Chris Godwin? Drop your thoughts in the comments. But here's where things get even more interesting. There are rumors that if Cooper Kupp or Deebo Samuel don't get traded, they could be cut. That means a team like the Broncos could sign them for a low veteran contract while their old team still pays most of their salary, just like what happened with Russell Wilson and the Steelers. Think about it, getting Deebo Samuel or Cooper Kupp for the league minimum. Every Broncos fan would be all in for that deal. The key is to avoid giving up draft picks or paying a huge contract in a trade. And there's one more big rumor. Some sources say Garrett Wilson from the New York Jets could be available for trade. With connections between the Broncos front office and the Jets, this is definitely something to keep an eye on. The Broncos and Jets already have a strong front office connection. We landed Zach Wilson and John Franklin Myers from them. So if Garrett Wilson is really available, Denver could be one of the top trade destinations. Even Sports Illustrated's Jets website is predicting that Wilson could end up with the Broncos, and that would be huge. Wilson was a top 10 draft pick out of Ohio State, and his highlight reel is insane. One of his college catches was so unreal that it looked like AI-generated footage. He's not quite at the level of Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, but he has superstar potential. Let's not forget, Wilson has been dealing with bad quarterback play in New York. He's had to catch passes from Zach Wilson and a briefly available Aaron Rodgers. But if he came to Denver, he'd have Bo Nix, an up-and-coming talent, leading the offense. That could completely unlock his potential. So, Broncos fans, which wide receiver excites you the most? Chris Godwin, proven talent but will cost money. Deebo Samuel or Cooper Kupp could be cheap if their old teams pay their contracts. Garrett Wilson, young star with huge upside. Now, while we're talking about upgrading this team, another position keeps coming up, tight end. Could the Broncos make a move to improve that spot next? Let's break it down. One position we haven't talked much about is tight end. Could the Broncos upgrade before the draft? A name to watch is Juwan Johnson, a tight end that Sean Payton personally drafted back in 2020 with the Saints. They were really high on him, and now he's about to become a free agent. Now, his stats don't jump off the page. He had 50 receptions this season, ranking 76th in the NFL. But here's the key. Most of his catches were either first downs or touchdowns. He steps up in clutch moments. If you watch his highlights, you'll see he's fast for a tight end and tough to bring down. He's made crazy catches, including some fingertip grabs. And let's be honest, if he had a better quarterback, his numbers would be much higher. Bo Nix would be the best quarterback he's played with in years. So, Broncos fans, what do you think? Would you like to see Denver add a playmaker at tight end before the draft? And don't stress about T. Higgins. The Chargers and Chiefs didn't get him either. Denver's getting better, and our division rivals are getting worse. That's a win for us.